You're about to make a decision that could cost you thousands of dollars, and you don't even know what's happening. Right now, parked in driveways across America, sitting in dealership lots, cruising down highways, there are cars painted in colors specifically engineered to manipulate your emotions, your wallet, and even your safety. This isn't conspiracy theory, this is billion-dollar science, and by the end of this video, you'll never look at a car this same way again. If you're ready to discover the hidden forces controlling one of the biggest purchases of your life, smash that like button right now and subscribe, because what I'm about to reveal will change everything you thought you knew about the cars you drive. Hey, this is Mark, and you're welcome to AUTOSAYS. Let's talk about something that seems simple on the surface, but runs deeper than you'd ever imagine: color. Specifically, car color. You walk into a dealership, you see rows of vehicles, and you're drawn to one. Maybe it's that sleek black sedan, or that bold red sports car, or perhaps that safe, reliable silver SUV. You think it's your choice, your preference, your style. But here's the truth, and this is where it gets unsettling. That choice was made for you long before you ever stepped foot on that lot. Automotive manufacturers spend millions, sometimes tens of millions of dollars researching color psychology, running focus groups, analyzing market data, all to figure out exactly which shades will make you reach for your wallet. And it works every single time. Think about this for a second. In 1955, you could buy a Chevrolet Bel Air in over a dozen different colors: pink, turquoise, coral, colors that screamed optimism and post-war prosperity. Fast forward to today, and what do you see? The roads have become a sea of grayscale. White, black, silver, gray. These four colors now represent nearly 80% of all new cars sold in America. 80%! What happened? Did we all suddenly lose our sense of adventure, or did something else change? The answer lies in a perfect storm of psychology, economics, and manufacturing strategy that's been building for decades. But before we dive into that, let me ask you something that's going to make you uncomfortable. When was the last time you saw a bright yellow family sedan, a purple pickup truck, an orange minivan? You haven't, have you? And that's not an accident. Manufacturers have systematically trained us to associate certain colors with certain values, and they've done it so effectively that we police ourselves now. We self-select into these narrow color bands because we've internalized their message. Neutrals are safe. Neutrals hold value. Neutrals are smart investments. But here's what they're not telling you, and this is where the manipulation gets really interesting. Those neutral colors, they're cheaper to produce. They hide imperfections better. They require less specialized equipment. And most importantly, they create an artificial scarcity in the used car market that keeps residual values high, which in turn justifies higher new car prices. It's a closed-loop system designed to maximize profit while minimizing your choices, and you're funding it every time you pick silver over sapphire. Now, let's get into the psychology, because this is where it gets genuinely fascinating and a little bit scary. Different colors trigger different emotional responses in our brains, and car manufacturers know exactly which buttons to push. Red, for instance. Red cars are statistically more likely to be pulled over by police. They're associated with aggression, speed, risk-taking behavior. But they're also attention-grabbing, which is why sports car manufacturers love red. It's not about the car being fast, it's about the car making you feel fast. That emotional hit releases dopamine, and suddenly you're justifying a $5,000 premium package you didn't even want 10 minutes ago. Black vehicles communicate luxury, sophistication, power. They're also the hardest to maintain, showing every scratch, every water spot, every speck of dust. But that maintenance requirement, that's actually part of the appeal for luxury brands. It signals that the owner has resources, has time, has staff perhaps, to keep the vehicle looking immaculate. It's conspicuous consumption wrapped in automotive paint. White cars, and this is going to surprise you, white cars have become the default global choice, not because they're boring, but because they're practical in a warming world. White reflects heat. In places like Arizona, Nevada, Southern California, a white car can be 10 to 15 degrees cooler than a black car in summer. That's real money saved on air conditioning. That's real comfort. And manufacturers know that climate change is shifting buying patterns in ways most people haven't even consciously registered yet. But here's where the financial manipulation really kicks in. Certain colors are designated as premium options, costing anywhere from $400 to $2,000 extra. Why? The paint itself doesn't cost that much more to apply. It's artificial scarcity. Manufacturers produce limited quantities of certain colors, creating perceived exclusivity. They've literally financialized color choice. You're not buying paint, you're buying status differentiation, and they're charging you a premium for the privilege of standing out in a market they've deliberately homogenized. Let me take you back to automotive history for a moment, because understanding how we got here makes the manipulation even clearer. Henry Ford famously said you could have a Model T in any color you wanted, as long as it was black. That wasn't a joke, it was economics. Black paint dried faster, which meant faster production, which meant lower costs. Ford optimized for efficiency over choice, but by the 1920s, GM figured out something revolutionary. They realized that color variety could drive sales even without mechanical improvements. Alfred Sloan, GM's legendary CEO, introduced the annual model year change with new color palettes. Suddenly, cars weren't just transportation, they were fashion, and fashion becomes obsolete, which means people buy new cars more frequently. This strategy, called planned obsolescence through styling, generated billions in additional revenue and set the template every manufacturer still follows today. In the 1970s and 80s, we saw an explosion of color options again. Burnt orange, avocado green, chocolate brown. These weren't aesthetic choices, they were market responses to cultural moments, the environmental movement, the energy crisis, the desire for individuality in a mass-produced world. Colors reflected social values. But then came the 1990s and 2000s, and something shifted. Globalization meant cars were being designed for global markets, and different cultures have radically different color preferences. White is associated with purity in Western cultures, but with mourning in some Eastern cultures. Red is lucky in China, but aggressive in America. To maximize global appeal and minimize production complexity, manufacturers converged on neutral palettes that offend no one and appeal to everyone in the most mediocre way possible.
And you're living with the consequences of that convergence every single day. Here's something that should genuinely concern you about all of this. Color affects safety. Multiple studies have shown that silver and gray cars have higher accident rates than white cars because they blend into road surfaces, especially in fog, rain, or twilight conditions. Your color choice, which you think is about aesthetics, is actually a statistical predictor of your crash risk. Yet, manufacturers push these colors aggressively because they're profitable. They're literally trading your safety for their margin efficiency and doing it with a smile while you sign the purchase agreement. Now let's talk resale value, because this is where the long-term manipulation really stings. Dealers and manufacturers have convinced the market that neutral colors hold value better, and because everyone believes this, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. If you buy a car in an unusual color, you're going to take a bigger depreciation hit, not because the color is actually less desirable, but because the market has been conditioned to believe it is. You're being penalized for exercising choice in a system designed to eliminate choice. It's psychological price fixing, and it's completely legal. But wait, there's a twist coming that changes everything, and this is your cliffhanger moment before we reach the resolution. Electric vehicles are about to blow up the entire color paradigm, and manufacturers are terrified. Why? Because EVs don't have the same production constraints as traditional cars. Paint can be applied differently, colors can be changed more easily, and younger EV buyers are demanding more individuality. Tesla's Cybertruck, love it or hate it, comes in bare stainless steel specifically to challenge color conventions. Rivian offers colors like launch green and limestone that haven't been seen on mainstream vehicles in decades. The color manipulation system is cracking, and the old guard doesn't know how to respond without admitting they've been playing us for years. So what's the play here? How do you beat a system designed to manipulate you? First, awareness. You now know the game. Second, calculate the real cost of color premiums versus your actual preference. If you genuinely love that rapid red and you're planning to keep the car long term, the premium might be worth it for daily joy even if resale takes a hit. Third, consider unconventional colors from smaller manufacturers or special editions. You'll stand out, you might actually enjoy your vehicle more, and you'll be voting with your wallet for more diversity in design. Fourth, and this is crucial, don't let dealer or manufacturer preferences override your genuine desires. They'll push hard toward profitable neutrals, but this is your money and your daily experience. Here's what's really at stake. The cars on our roads are a reflection of our collective psychology and the forces shaping it. When 80% of vehicles are achromatic, that's not a natural preference, that's a manufactured consensus. It's a visual representation of how corporations can narrow choices while convincing us we're still free. And if they can do it with something as visible as car color, imagine what they're doing with options you can't see, with financing terms, with technology packages, with service intervals. The color manipulation is just the surface. It's the entry point to understanding how the entire automotive purchase process is engineered to benefit manufacturers at the expense of genuine consumer choice. So, the next time you're shopping for a vehicle and that salesperson steers you toward the safe silver option, remember what you learned here today. Remember that your choices are being shaped by forces invisible but powerful. Remember that true freedom isn't just having options, it's understanding why those options exist in the first place. The road ahead is changing. Electric vehicles are disrupting old patterns, and maybe, just maybe, we're about to see a renaissance of color and creativity in automotive design. But only if consumers demand it. Only if you demand it. That's the real power here. Manufacturers respond to what sells, and what sells is determined by what you buy. Every colorful car on the road is a small act of rebellion against homogenization. Every unusual choice sends a signal that individuality still matters, and collectively, those signals can shift an entire industry. The question is, are you going to be part of that shift, or are you going to let the manipulation continue? If this video opened your eyes to something you'd never considered before, do me a favor, share it with someone who's car shopping right now. Like and subscribe if you want more deep dives into the hidden forces shaping the automotive world, and drop a comment telling me what color your dream car would be if price and resale value didn't matter. Let's see how diverse our real preferences actually are when we strip away the manipulation. Until next time, keep your eyes open, question everything, and remember that even something as simple as color is never really that simple. This is Mark with AUTOSAYS, and I'll see you in the next one.